So here we are again, back by unpopular demand. And tonight I'm going to do another couple of those dodgyCam presents that I'm insisting on doing in a channel that is so unapologetically self-indulgent. This is unquestionably the most self-indulgent thing that I'm doing, and that is trying to share with you some of the work that I did in the music business way back when, once were warriors, that I'm proud of and that maybe I feel like deserves a little bit of love. Not just the work I did, but the band that I did it for. This is more material off Shot in the Dark, the DVD version of Shot in the Dark, the bonus material. The original Shot in the Dark was as I've said previously, shot in Oxford at the Marillion Fan Convention in 1999. And Jayce and I, my partner, had been working since then, religiously putting together the EPK, electronic press kit, and then the actual concert movie. And in December of 99, the band invited us to come on the road with them to the latter half of their tour in Germany and do, if I remember right, something like 2 weeks or a little over 2 weeks with the band. I think we were there for 10 dates, for 10 nights, which would have consisted of 3 nights on and 1 night off. This was before in-ear monitoring came along. In fact, if memory serves, it was starting to evolve. No, I'm wrong. In-ear monitoring didn't start to evolve until sort of the Marbles tour back in 2004. In 99, in-ear monitoring hadn't really become a thing. So Steve Hogarth could do 3 nights at a time, and then he had to have a night off. As he always said, singing above the space shuttle, singing above that sort of massive sound, even with your own monitors, there was always an instinct of on the part of the singer to sort of try and sing above it, to punch through it. So it was very, very hard on his voice. So we did this period of time that I think consisted of 10 dates, and a couple of nights off and some fun and games in Germany. And during that time, the 2 fat men that were the Boom Boom Boys, with 2 tiny little DV cams, second generation mini DV cams at that stage. We shot 10 nights in a row on these small cameras, 2 sets of video a night. And what we did is we identified some of the songs from the set that we wanted to cover, and we shot those on video, and then we spent the balance of the set shooting still images with the same cameras, and we handed those off to Eric Nielsen, the incredible sort of web designer for Marillion and crew boss and keyboard tech. But we focused on shooting documentary footage, behind the scenes footage, interview footage to an extent. But in the actual concerts, we shot a number of songs that we'd identified as things that we thought we could put little movies together with the idea that this would be bonus material for a subsequent DVD and potentially start a library of material that we could use in other ways. So what we had was a band that was playing pretty much the same set every night, that by this stage of the tour were pretty much sort of consistently playing about the same tempo, which couldn't be said for the main 4 nights of Shot in the Dark. And a lighting designer who was delivering to us pretty much a consistent show, which meant that we could film for 10 nights with 2 cameras and end up with what amounted to 12 individual setups or 12 individual sets of shots from which to make some concert films. And we identified particularly the 2 that we ended up making and putting together completely and fully were Memory of Water and King. And the first one I want to look at is Memory of Water, which was, I seem to remember, the first of these that we cut. And what was quite interesting about it was one of the features of these little mini DV cams is we could pull a couple of little tricks in camera. One of them was to change the shutter speed on the camera so that as you change the shutter speed from the standard 50 down to 6, so that the image would blur and shift and become this sort of slightly groovy, interesting thing. And then in camera, in real time, you could shift it back and the blurring image would coalesce into a clean image again, and in and out like that. And on Memory of Water, we decided to play that game in camera, in real time, while we were filming, in the understanding that that would give us something quite interesting in the edit. And part of the reason for that was because the band themselves had taken Memory of Water, this delicate little song off this Strange Engine, this beautiful little song, and they'd, I think, inspired by the Positive Light remakes of the Strange Engine album, they'd made what they called the big beat version, this sort of pounding, how would you even describe it? This pounding, almost electronic version of the song. And then overlaid on it, still the very, very delicate Steve Hogarth vocal, but over this incredibly different beat. Very reminiscent of the Positive Lights version of the song, but also uniquely Marillion's own. And so what you get is 10 different nights worth of performance with their small variations that if you watch the cut, you can see the variations in cut. But in this cut, rather than trying to hide them, in a way, those variations become a feature. They become a decision so that you can sense that you're seeing multiple different performances and slightly different ways of performing the same lyric and the same line. But at the same time, you're being presented with this quite big concert movie version of this song. And as a result, it's one of my favorite things that we did in this era. It has that feel of being a big concert film. It has that feel of being a big multi-camera, quite expensive piece of work, when actually it was two fat guys with two basically borrowed cameras, two cheap borrowed cameras. In fact, two cheap borrowed, arguably almost domestic cameras, domestic quality cameras. They were in that period when broadcast and non-broadcast started to become quite close to each other. This song is absolutely one of my favorites. It's an interesting little song. It's an interesting little lyric. What Marillion did with it in terms of creating the big beat version for me is fantastic. And I feel like in the way we cut it and the way we played with it and the way we sort of tried to enhance the spirit of the song, I feel like we did this song justice as a piece of video. And I'd love for you to watch it, and I hope that you enjoy it. And afterwards, maybe you'll watch the next one. And I'm gonna talk about that in a minute, and then I'm gonna cut them together and put them up online. We'll talk about King, which is an entirely different beast. But this is Marillion, The Memory of Water, big beat version, filmed in 1999 over something like 10 nights between the Paradiso and the Arkan Christmas show, by two fat guys with two small cameras, the Boom Boom Boys. Enjoy it. I hope to see you again. Until then, keep the faith.
unashamedly.